special guest this morning.
Off the wire, Seth. Holy mackerel, I never saw such a silly kid.
Area code 212-870-9100.
What is that? Area code what?
212-870-9100.
I just watched that nice interview you had.
Obviously, it didn't have any impression on you at all, did it?
No, in actual fact, no.
Are you afraid of all the statistics with respect to smoking? Why not?
I don't have any fears.
Boy, you have fears about that.
No, I don't. I like to smoke, and I smoke because I like it. I could give it up if I wanted to. I don't want to give it up.
What are you doing in town? Why
I'm here to get my chest checked.
You're also here because of the Frank Sinatra testimony, aren't you?
Yes.
That's what, Tuesday night?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's at the Waldorf Astoria.
And what are you doing there? What are you hanging around with all those big shots like Frank Sinatra?
Because he's my friend.
He is a great guy. He's a friend of yours, isn't he?
That's right. I just said that, Stanley.
I know, that's what you did say. You know, on this show, you know, David, let me get rolling here with Jerry Lewis.
Let's get on
with
with
it. Off my game. Now, David Hartman just had you on. He's a good pal of yours, and I'm a good pal of yours, too. That's the reason you're here this morning. I met Jerry Lewis in Nashville. You know him because of MD.
Thank you.
I interviewed him 4 times down there in Tennessee, and he was gracious to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning once we get a 90-minute show. I want to ask you some tough questions.
Okay.
You know who Judith Exner is, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Judith Exner is the woman who allegedly had relations with the late President Kennedy from 1960 to 1962.
And I also had a very long affair with Marie Antoinette.
Now, the reason I got to ask you these questions, and I hope you don't get mad at me, she has some comments about you in her new book. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Would you like to know what she's saying about you?
Not particularly.
Shall I tell you anyway, though, as a reporter?
If you like to, that's perfectly all right.
All right, here's what I got to say. Now, she's written a book. It's going to be about her relations with Sam Giancana, who was a mafia guy, and John Kennedy. And she knew Frank Sinatra very well because apparently they were a mutual friend. And, and she knew Jerry Lewis. And she says this: an egomaniac who would run up thousands of dollars in studio bills by playing basketball on a court, insisting that he insisted be set up in the studio, causing the film crews to have to wait several hours before they could continue shooting. Jerry Lewis would let anyone who wanted to play basketball with him do so as long as they let him win. Is that a true story, or is that just a cheap shot?
No, that's probably true. I think that's just as valid as the affair she had with John Kennedy.
What kind of a woman was she? What is Judith Exner like?
She's the same woman as she's always been.
But tell us seriously. I want to say, we're reading about this woman.
She has the sensitivity of Zsa Zsa Gabor, and probably that's only exceeded by the same brains.
She's a lightweight in your judgment.
She's actually half an amoeba, as far as
Well, now, why would she?
Why would she? Because she looked at her bank balance, and since she's too old to be a streetwalker anymore, she decided, well, this is a good shot. I'll make some money. That's all it is. John Kennedy, I doubt very strongly, ever knew her.
You think that's not a true story at all?
I know it's not. John Kennedy was a very special man, and he should be allowed to rest. And she's a moron.
Well, no, all right. That may be true.
You shouldn't be
pandering, you think, bringing this up?
Shabbying up your program by talking about this kind of garbage.
Well, let me respectfully disagree with you, if I might.
Who's going to stop you?
Well, no, I'm going to do it, because the fact of the matter is the book is going out.
And it'll sell a lot of books.
Yeah, a lot of national magazines are doing it, and my function
You want me to tell you how I can get every front page of every newspaper today without press agents and without cost? All I have to do is walk out of this studio and molest a child on the street. I'll get front page headline. But if anyone wants to hear about some of the good stuff I've done, no one's going to buy that. Don't you understand?
I understand that entirely.
Well, let's get on to something a little more productive.
We will, and I just wanted to clear it up.
Let's discuss your personality and what you're going to do about it.
Okay. Well, what would you suggest I do about it? Well, I hate to get off to a bad start with Jerry, here I got about, but the only reason I brought this out, I happened to be reading The Village Voice last night.
Well, that shows me.
And anyway, so it was in there. I said, I got to ask Jerry Lewis, because I've asked you the hard questions in the previous times.
Except The Village Voice is a newspaper that has to reproduce the material that is given to them. They're only printing what she said and what she is.
But you did meet her.
She worked for me.
She did, really?
Yes.
Judith Exner worked for you?
Yes.
In what capacity?
Well, that's hard to say.
Did she have a paying job?
Oh, yeah, she was paid.
Well, now, what deductions are we to make from that?
You do what you want with it. I'm just giving you some more garbage to play with.
Is this true, though?
No.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Area code 212-870. All you scandal mongers out there, call Jerry Lewis with your question. You're on the air. Our special guest is the great Jerry Lewis. You're on the air. What is your question, please?
Mr. Lewis, I had seen you on quite a few dramatic shows, particularly one with Ben Casey, and you are such a great actor. Will you be doing any more dramatic roles in the future?
Well, I've done a couple of comedy appearances that turned out somewhat dramatic. But, no, not right away, except the film that I made in Europe, which will release this fall, called The Day the Clown Cried, is a very heavy dramatic film.
You're on the air with Jerry Lewis. Go ahead, please, your question.
Hello?
Was she through, this lady?
I think she was, so we give him one shot.
Was I through?
You were through. We have many questions for the great Jerry Lewis. You're on the air. What is your question, please?
Good morning. Jerry, I watched you on the Good Morning America show and was thrilled to hear some of the things you were saying about muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, that was very exciting for me, too.
I cannot, well, I won't waste your time, but I am physically handicapped. I'm very involved with the physically handicapped. And I have a very dear young friend. I'm a mother of 3 children. Would you believe? I just added one talking to you.
So whatever turns you on.
This young man has muscular dystrophy and has had it since he's 9. He's 27 now. And you made some statements which were, as you said, you didn't want to offer any premature hope. What I wanted to know is what you were discussing or alluding to have anything to do with people who already have muscular dystrophy and are already in wheelchairs and can't walk? Or is it only for people or youngsters who contract the disease now?
I can only tell you that the information that I was expounding on was information relative to the cause and cure, hopefully so that we don't have children being born and disabled by muscular dystrophy. The side effects of that information ultimately will be in our hands from researchers and some pretty good pathologists, and God willing, they'll be involved with those who are now afflicted. I don't know. That information I don't have.
How much money have you raised from the Labor Day telethons? How many millions of dollars?
Labor Day telethons?
Yes.
$80 million.
$80 million.
But that's only 10. That's only 10 years. But for the 26 years, the total is $203,508,660.
203 million. Astounding. How many, I know about some of this because there was an installation in Nashville that bears your name.
Yes.
Because of what you've done. How many...
At the School of Medicine.
That's right, at Vanderbilt University. How many hospitals or wings? Or what would you
We
call
opened 10 this year.
10 MD wings.
I just came from the University of Virginia, where we established the Jerry Lewis Neuromuscular Research Center, and we break ground at UCLA in August, which will be the 11th facility. We're now in 14 countries around the world, with 765 of the top pathologists and researchers all over the world, including Russia and Japan. And 26 years ago, they told me I didn't have a prayer. No one would hear me, understand me. Moreover, they wouldn't work for me.
Every year that we talk about this MD, you give me the impression that...
Muscular dystrophy.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said MD, and I don't believe that things that important should be abbreviated.
That's right, muscular dystrophy. That a
You
cure...
want me to call you SS?
Well, sometimes they've been called that. That's the least of it. We get the impression that a cure is imminent, or in the next year or two.
It is.
What could you make any prediction at this point, or judgment?
I can only tell you that my research people at the Institute, and they call it the house that Jerry built, which is a very special place.
Right.
They were very, very anxious and excited for me to know that for my 50th birthday, they thought they would give me the cure. And my 50th birthday is but 16 and 7, it's 23 days away. I doubt that it's going to happen because this was told to me last year for my 49th birthday. But if they were that close to an approximate time, then I must assume it's not far away.
Out of the $203 million that you've raised, I know there's some fat in there because you have to pay for various things. What percentage of that money that you...
94 cents of every dollar goes to research.
94 cents.
That's right, and that's what it was 26 years ago, so that the machine that I am proud to say that I built, the organization, is so well oiled and is such a super operation with love people, we haven't, because of economy, inflation, and the like, changed those statistics.
Yeah.
So that of that money, 93 to 94 cents of every dollar goes to research as of 1949 to the current day.
Our special guest is Jerry Lewis, area code
Was I through?
Call us after this commercial break with your phone. I promise I'll let him answer the question. We will Our special guest, Jerry Lewis. You're on the air. What is your question, please? Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
All I'm trying to find out is what are the visiting hours for the maternity ward?
What was the question? Something bad?
Visiting hours for the maternity ward.
Which one? What's he talking about?
You're on the air. What is your question, please?
Hello, my name is Richard Goldstein.
Hi, Richard.
All right, Mr. Lewis.
How
I don't know
are
if you remember me, but back in 1974, February last year, 1975, excuse me, we did the Mike Douglas show as the Humbugs.
Oh, yeah, you did a terrific thing with 2 other kids.
Right. And what happened was we had taken your advice, and
Got out of the business.
we took your advice about playing clubs, about refining the act. We'd like to know if you have any more advice now that, like, we've sort of branched off, and a couple of us are in a comedy team now, and we, you know, whatever.
Comedy team, they never work.
I'd like to know, like, if you have some advice for, you know, like, young people getting up in, you know, new town.
The only advice I can ever give young people is what I tell my sons. If you want to do something bad enough, and you really want to do it, do it.
How much out of every 365 days are you putting on an MD, and how much in your career at this point? Are you semi-retired in terms of your career?
Well, not really. But 26 years ago, I gave 10% of my time to my kids and 90% to my career, and now it's gone the other way, because you get the involvement now is 365 days a year. We've been in pre-production meetings for the telethon as of 6 weeks ago, so that it's now a 9 to 10 month preparation of just getting the show on. With 215 stations, as you know we have, as opposed to 1 station, it changes the texture. And I have to do an awful lot of work in corporate setups, getting the guys with the fat cat money, and going to Nashville and visiting the independent stations and the affiliates and keeping everything together. You don't put that thing together in 20 minutes.
You're on the air with Jerry Lewis.
We collected 106% this last year.
Is that right?
Yeah, the pledge was $18,868,664. We collected $19,700,000 cash in the bank already. That was only 163 days ago that I went off the air.
That's amazing.
23 weeks. And it's the 10th year in a row we got over 100% with this economy and the inflation. The loving on Labor Day, these people are super. They're there for me.
I want to ask you some.
Would you like to leave a call?
Why are you so close to me like this? You get in here real close, don't you? I mean, you are kind of close to me.
You have stunning eyes, Stanley.
Do you think so? I don't know.
Yeah, you look a lot like Ruth Hussey.
Do you think you're a bigger star, we'll say, in Europe than you are here? I mean it.
I don't know.
For example, the French have had Jerry Lewis revivals, retrospectives. You've gone there. Do you think maybe you're a bigger star outside of this country?
Always has been in Europe, yes.
Do you think the American critics have been unkind to you?
No. They're just stupid.
But you do think they've been unkind?
No, I don't think they've been unkind. They just don't particularly like an abrasive, obnoxious comedian, that's all. But if they would like to sit with me toe-to-toe sometimes, you'll find that they also have the brain. What do you expect them to be kind to me? I rip them every chance I get.
Why shouldn't they be kind? Why have they been so unkind, for example?
Well, because comedy is very fragile, and it's not the kind of a thing that all people like, particularly expounded upon by certain abrasive, obnoxious, loud, raucous characters. And my brand of humor is such that can indeed be offensive to a lot of people. Now, if you know critics as I know them, they are somewhat snobbish, a little above the norm, and that kind of jars their whole carriage when I go, Now, you do that to John Simon, and he does 4 pages on why Freud should live in your toilet.
Do you think, when was the last motion picture you made? What was the last picture?
The Day the Clown Cried. Finished it in January of 75.
You're on the air with Jerry Lewis. Your question, please.
Why are you so choked up at everything I say to you? Read the chart on the wall. A, C, E. Hi.
You're on the air. What is your question, please? Go ahead.
I'll ask.
Not a question. I like to pay Mr. Lewis a compliment.
Go ahead.
Okay.
My name is Walter Bridgeson. I worked with your son approximately 2 years at a Catskill resort.
Which son? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6?
I think it was 5. I was
You're right. It was Ron. Yeah.
I was at
No. That's number 2 son.
number 2, son?
Yeah.
I was at the Browns Hotel.
Yeah, my 6'4" elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a full meal and we have to take a GI loan. And not having been in the service makes it very difficult.
I'd just like to say that I think you're a fantastic actor.
Thank
and
you.
the greatest movie that you ever made, to me, was Cinderella.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're on the air with Jerry Lewis. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Could I talk to that man some more?
Yeah, after the show you can, yeah.
My question, Mr. Lewis?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. Mr.
What's your
Lewis,
name?
Helen Cooper Smith.
Helen, that was my father's name.
Go ahead, please. What is your question?
I'm not lecturing. I'm going to ask you a question. Many years ago, I think, there was a rumor that you did have a heart condition. And I noticed you still smoke. I smoke 2.5 packs a day, had a heart attack over a year ago, kept on smoking. And, because I said, oh, it has nothing. My lungs are clear. I'm fine. March 26th, I'm going in for a triple bypass. Do me a favor. You do such marvelous things for people. You're such a great guy. You've made me laugh for many years. I have 2 grown sons. All right, I won't admit on TV how old I am, but we're pretty much in the same age bracket. Why don't you quit? I'm still trying, and I'm going to be in the hospital March 26th.
Stay on the line. That's a good question. I'm sure Jerry would like to answer
I think
it.
you'll be all right, darling. If you had the mental attitude that I had about this lifestyle and the whole human condition, which is a very psychological and philosophical one, I'm sure, you could do anything. My whole point of view is that there isn't anything that you can't do if you want to do it bad enough. I don't think smoking is going to be injurious to me, the individual. I would suspect that it is a dangerous thing for people to do, and we wouldn't have the Surgeon General and some pretty good medical minds proclaiming don't do it if it wasn't dangerous. I won't accept that because it doesn't fit in with my human condition. So I make it that it's safe. And mentally, I think that I'm beating it. I smoke 2, 3, 4 packs a day sometimes. I don't really smoke them. It's a prop. I puff 3 or 4. Maybe I smoke a pack and a half totally. But I will not allow anything to happen to me because I have a lot of stuff I have to do yet. I haven't even begun. I have a lot of laughter that I want to create and a lot of good stuff for my kids and for my family and just in general. I won't have anything happen to me. And I think that you can indeed structure your life in such a way, if you do, use that marvelous tool up here for positive thinking and nothing wrong will happen to you. Now, on the 26th of March, I strongly and respectfully recommend you think in terms of one aspect, and that is that the doctors are nuts, and you'll get in and out of there quickly, and you'll be fine. You can even smoke, but you've got to really concentrate.
Jerry, how can you say that?
I can say any damn thing I want.
You can say it, but how can it be true in the face of the fact that what were those facts? That 300,000 Americans die every year from the effects of smoking.
Probably.
You see yourself as a God person? That you
No, I see myself as someone who will probably die just like they will in a year or two, but until then, I'm going to say I ain't.
Oh, I see. In other words, but no, you're not kidding yourself. You think you may die, but you're willing to risk it, is what you're saying.
I think that the individual, on the basis of what I believe my energy and my psychological output is, I think I can deal with anything. I wouldn't recommend that to people.
Right.
I don't impose my thinking on other people. I think other people should do what doctors tell them and follow the advice of the Surgeon General, who clearly indicates, warning, the Surgeon General has determined that cigarette smoking is dangerous to your health. That's
right.
a generalization. I do not accept that. I read the other side that says, schmuck, what are you doing?
And the thing that's really, I want to go on to this because this is very interesting. That woman's phone call was very touching.
And it was very lovely.
Here is a woman who is anonymous, you don't know her, who had this great feeling for you. The fact of the matter is that I feel that Jerry Lewis over the years has been abused by a lot of people, by the critics, by segments of the American public. And here is a woman who is, beneath that, who wants to give you the greatest gift she can give you, which is health and her love and concern, and that's what it is.
And that's why I wanted her to know that I will be very careful to take good care of myself while doing an awful lot of things that are wrong, and I'll be okay.
We'll have more questions for Jerry Lewis after this time.
You know, if I...
special guest is Jerry Lewis. He went out to get something out of his briefcase. There he is right now. Come on over here. Put a hand mic on. Rather,
I found one.
You got some letters. Here's some very heartwarming.
But this one is sensational.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're not interested in knowing that in Reno, it just indicates here that, yes, that was Jerry Lewis playing golf every day for the past several days at Reno's Brookside, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lewis' last 18 holes resulted in a very credible 67. Credible. Now, that's a newspaper man. A very credible 67. Okay?
Yeah.
You want me to discuss this, Yutz?
Who wrote that?
It's Tom McGuire. He's a sports
So
writer.
he's insinuating that you didn't do that.
No. He printed the facts, but it's a credible.
What does that mean? By using that adjective.
Well, I don't know.
he's
How does it sound to you? Is it suggesting that it was okay?
Where is that again?
67. His last 18 resulted in a very credible 67.
That's an understatement of all time, is what it is.
Well, he's probably is a 9 or 10 handicap. That's all.
probably.
This was from Scotty. Scotty's 19.
This is one of your children now.
One of my
One
sons.
of muscular dystrophy.
Yeah. No. This is one of my sons.
Oh, this is your son.
Yeah, my kids are my MDA kids. This is one of my sons.
All right.
I just want you to see, like the letter we read in Nashville.
Right.
Okay. He's got a lovely girl that he's crazy about. See, so he writes, "Dearest Father," they all call me Father except Gary, who calls me Dad, and Ron calls me Pop. All the others call me Father. I just wanted to write you this note to thank you for being such a wonderful father and a good friend. Your kindness and understanding towards Dee Dee and I has really been fantastic. I will always treasure our talk in Las Vegas. That meant so very much to me. We talked about a lot of things, and I've been waiting to talk to you for quite a while. And I don't think Mama could ever sit me down and talk to me as realistically as you did. I hate not having you home when I need to talk to you. I love you so much for treating me like an understanding adult. My capabilities and my maturity tell me I'm almost there. Dee Dee is the first person who has my maturity of who I've gone with. Good sentence, huh? She's never tried to change me. She accepts me for what I am, not who I am. Of course, I'm proud of who I am. You know what I mean. She once wrote to me, "Most people like you because they love your father. I like your father because I love you," et cetera, et cetera. And he finishes the letter, "Please don't show this letter to Mama. It could be hazardous to her health."
Nice letter. What is Jerry Lewis at home like? I know that you're not.
Want to read the letter?
No, but I mean, you know what I mean. How do you conduct your family? You're not
Very
funny.
stern,
You are stern.
very much the disciplinarian. But the fun that we have, based on just a father and his sons, is no different than these fathers and their kids. These fathers and their kids have a relationship, whatever that is, and their children relate to them on an individualistic basis. And if they want to create laughter, it's there.
Suppose Jerry Lewis was in a jam and you only had a dime and could make one call. On this earth, after all this time in show business and leading a very eventful life for 50 years, who would you place that call to? Who is the person you know would walk on the thin ice for you to help you if you needed help?
I would need 100 dimes.
You feel you have that many friends?
Yes.
You're a lucky man, aren't you?
Yeah, that thing about if you have 5 when you die. Well, I'm into using my toes and then some. I'm a very wealthy man. But that I get is only because I put it out. It's coming back. You can't have that kind of friendship with people like David Hartman unless you love them first. Or whoever starts it is not important, but to sustain a relationship, you have to do things like flying into New York to do his show, or whatever it is that's necessary.
Or doing our show.
Well, doing this show was a mistake.
But you make those mistakes every year. You do it. Show us the picture.
I do it every year because you have been very good to me,
Right.
and you've been kind to my kids. And in Nashville, the station was sensational. So wherever people from Nashville would go, I would go.
That's right.
And I told you that when we talked to Nashville.
I know you did.
My appearances with you there were out of affection and appreciation. And when your office called, that didn't change.
I know.
When I heard you had a show in New York, and they said, "Would you do it?" That's my way of repaying you.
Let me tell you about, I don't want to
Because I don't make a fortune from this.
No, you don't. I don't either, incidentally. I'm
As a
not
matter
making
of
much
fact,
money
I'm
either.
double parked.
But Jerry Lewis, the kind of guy, when we did the show in Nashville, he was on for 90 minutes. He phones me from Los Angeles afterwards to thank me for putting him on the show. You're on the air with Jerry Lewis. Your question, please.
Yes, I'd like to thank Mr. Lewis from all the children and all the people at the hospitals of muscle disease in New York City. I just want to reinforce what he already knows. And that's how much we love and admire him.
Thank you very much.
Do you have a child in the hospital, or are you a nurse there?
No, I worked there in a summer program for special education.
Did you work with Ethel Cosmos?
No, I don't know that name. This was about 4 years ago in a summer program.
I see. Well, thank you for your help, and I appreciate your call.
Couple of final questions for Jerry Lewis. Go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello, I'd like to ask Mr. Lewis, please. I'd like to congratulate him first on his golf game. I heard that he had parred the Blue Monster at Doral.
Yes. Where did you hear that?
Well, I go there every year. I play the game of golf myself. I have a lot of friends who are pros. And I'd like to congratulate you and ask you.
Thank you. Parring the Blue Monster was possibly one of the biggest thrills of my life because I didn't know how tough the course was when I played it. And being a late starter, I've only played golf since I was 45, not quite 5 years, and I'm self-taught. And I went to scratch in July of last year, and now I'm playing to a 4 handicap.
Is that in Puerto Rico? That's the Doral country?
No, Doral is in Miami.
Right.
The Blue Monster is what it's called. It's a very long spread and a tough golf course. I was 2 under par coming into the 17th tee, and then they proceeded to tell me how tough the course was, and I bogeyed 17 and 18 and wound up parring the course.
I know what I want to ask you. This is a show business question.
Was I finished with it?
Yes, you were, because we have so little time. And that is, what was the greatest applause you ever got? When was the moment when you really knew...
The greatest applause?
Yes, the greatest single moment on the stage, you think?
The London Palladium opening night.
When was that?
1968. That was a standing ovation, not the kind that people do because they read about it.
Our special guest this morning is Al Goldstein, who is a friend, an old friend apparently. You've never met Jerry Lewis, have you?
First time we've met, yes.
But you wrote a story about him?
Yes.
Oh, ripped me to death.
How come?
Well, our job is to throw zingers at people, and sometimes it's a little uncomfortable when you meet the person face to face. But we had some dirt on you. We'd probably run the same. We have some good stuff on you in 2 weeks.
About me?
Pictures of him you might like.
Yeah. you and that lamb.
You remember that night with Sister Teresa?
That's right, Sister, who could forget? And Acapulco. Well, one question before the gadgets. But Screw Magazine deals with pornography. Why would Jerry Lewis be in a paper like that?
Somebody was throwing zaps at Jerry, and we just reproduced it. It was in the course of an interview.
Uh-huh. Now, we're going to talk about the fact that Al Goldstein faces a very serious court case March 9th, for which you could go to the slammer.
Well, I could drop the case. What is
this
that
morning?
court case?
Yeah, what is
I've been indicted in Wichita for mailing screw across state lines. I get 65 years and or $650,000 fine. Or they could cut my Diners Club card in half.
At least. Let's show this morning some of the gadgets that Al has brought with us. Jerry Lewis
This is one
loves...
of the most super gadgets.
Show, why don't you demonstrate what we're talking about?
This is a corkscrew. And now everyone in the world
Can you
has
see that
trouble
right
with
there?
corkscrews.
Yeah.
But this one is so big that if you can't handle a cork with this corkscrew, you should have yourself committed. It's really sensational. It's just a good big corkscrew, that's all. And if you drink wine, they slipe it. How did I wind up being in the same? This, of course, is a...
That's a phone, basically, right?
Wait, one sec. Who? Eddie? You're kidding. And how's Maud Amy? There's someone on here. Is it connected? I don't know what that is.
What's this right here?
Well, this is Billy Barty's steamer trunk. This is a leather case that...
Can you see this all right?
Oh, well, this
You can
is...
wire yourself,
Yeah,
Jerry.
this is dictaphone, isn't it?
No, this is this is what
I
the
knew I
cops
was
wear.
wrong. Oh, the cops wear this.
So you wire
The
yourself
bribery
here.
kit.
Now, why are you representing... Why do you have these things?
Well, I publish a newsletter called Gadget,
Here it is right now.
which is sold by subscription at Gadget at 116 West 14th Street. There's 11 copies for $10, and what we do is we test toys. So here's one I'm sure Jerry would love because he had one of the first.
Show this to this camera right here and keep it still now.
In fact, the 2 face watches, great. They've only made 100 of this one. It's a calculator with it's a pulsar watch with a calculator built in. So you press this. See, I think the light blocks it, and then you just multiply. We'll say 12 times.
Try 12 times 2.
We'll do something easy, right, Jerry? 25, Jerry? No,
12
25.
times 2?
Can you see that? Maybe you can't, but it does
No, the
work.
light is
It does
washing
work.
it out.
And
Yeah,
you
there
just-
it is.
And it works on a nylon tip.
Oh, that's so heavy.
Yeah.
How much would that retail for?
It sells for $3,900.
$3,900.
$3,900. I'll get 3. What the hell?
Holy smokes.
That's a lot of loot, that one.
And what about this particular suitcase here? What do you have in there?
This is a bomb, Stanley.
You're actually a
Al has never liked you see. Oh, that's, yeah, I've got this.
Have you got this?
But this, I've got
Jerry,
the
why
other
don't you
company.
show this one?
This is a portable telephone, and you have the YPJPYL. That's the New York.
Let's tilt this up so we can get a good shot.
That's the New York base phone unit. It's the same as in your car, and it's battery operated, and you can charge it. And it's about I paid $1,700. How much is this?
It's about 22 now.
Is this working right now?
It should be.
Let's phone ABC. Can we do that without you? Can you do that? Is that against the law? Yes, I know that, but you can put someone on there. Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah, I got an operator. Hello, operator?
Oh, we can't hear them, obviously. We couldn't hear them on the air, though.
You what? What room? The three of us? You're kidding. Oh, Stan.
Oh, Stan.
Oh, yeah.
We can't hear on the air.
No, it's cutting out because of the steel in the building.
What does this retail for, Al?
It's about $2,200. Let's see, here's another interesting item. As you know, calculators are the big thing. In fact, it even starts with young kids. I just bought this, my son. You can, kids can start very young working with mathematics here and multiply it out.
Mickey Mouse calculator.
We don't sell these, by the way, Stanley. We test them for gadget. A lot of times we test garbage, but we try and expose it at least. And unlike Consumer Reports, which deals with things practically, we approach things the way Jerry would. It's fun. And if you've never grown up, as most men haven't, it's a great way of having a good time buying toys.
This is marvelous. 4 penlight batteries, and that's your whole battery source. And this is great for children because you multiply, subtract, add, and there's a clear. It's the same as any calculator.
What do you have at home, Jerry? I know
I have 6 kids.
No, but in terms of electronics, what do you have?
What do you want? I've got it all.
Well, no, you've got a lot of stuff. How many TV sets do you have, for example?
You probably have an Advent, don't you?
Yeah, I have the Sony
projection system.
The projection system. I have a 33-room house. In the house, I would say there are 15 television sets.
15 television sets.
Approximately.
Would these fit into your lifestyle? Would that phone, for example, be a good idea for you?
I use the phone. I have that.
You have that in your... You have one in a car or one in a portable?
I have one in the car. I have one in a briefcase. I have one in my galoshes sometimes.
I bet you do.
This is beautiful. I'd like to get that for my little boy. Jeez.
Now, what do we have here? What are these?
Okay, this is a little car that races.
That's nice. That's an Evel Knievel, isn't it? That crashes and the body falls out and goes, oh. And you press the button for blood and Band-Aids.
That's a Richard Petty car.
So you can turn it. It's like it's an Evel Knievel. It'll turn, and it's a radio-controlled car, and it's great. It's great for kids. There's no wires or anything. It sells for about $40. It's a lot of fun. You can use it to carry cigarettes if Jerry wants cigarettes sent to him. It'll fetch.
Now, what about this? This Panasonic, what is that?
It's one of my favorite. This is an older toy.
That'll tell you what time it is by depressing it. There's a vocal cord.
Now, should we turn this around?
Unit on tape, see?
Oh, 9.
Right. It's a talking clock radio.
It's built by Panasonic, which is a subsidiary of Mitsubishi in Japan.
809.
She loves her job.
I've always wanted her to say, I love you, Al, it's 809. We get a personal note.
Let us talk, if we can, we'll talk about these couple of things right here. What is this?
This is a think tank. Can you just hand it to me, Stanley,
sure.
a moment? Well, let me just put on top. I'm not sure that people can see the front. If you're writing,
You know, I must tell you, in all honesty, there are certain staging problems I sense here. Does anyone say this is not coming off the way we wanted it to?
No, it's interesting.
Go ahead.
You turn this around. If you're blocking on something, or if you don't have a line for a woman, or you're interviewing somebody who's not going someplace, you spin this around, and this will theoretically free associate your next course of action.
Let's
Maybe,
see.
In this, my case, says quit.
Can we see Al Goldstein's favorite gadget? Bring in that gadget, and hold this microphone, Al. I want to get something for you. It's really interesting.
Well, Jerry, you have 6 boys, right?
Yes.
I only have 1. We're starting with
Ah.
Now introduce your wife.
Gina, my wife Gina, and my
How do
son
you do?
George.
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
Hi. You know Stanley?
We met. Can I read something about Al Goldstein that Jerry Lewis will appreciate? Here on the current issue of New York, it's an old one. It said, "What's the most important thing you've learned about love?" And here's what Al Goldstein writes. Here's the editor of Screw Magazine. He's facing the possibility of a jail sentence for, 50 years, whatever it is.
65.
And you write this. It's a very good question. I usually can be flip, but this will sound thinky. Love is very precious and very special. And this is not going to help my public image, but love cuts through all the trivia and claptrap of life. It's spiritual, and I'm thinking particularly about when I'm with my son. When I'm with him, I get a feeling that this is where everything is at, not with the money I make, or with running a paper, or feeling like a hotshot. I'm a controversial figure, but when I have him in my arms, everything's really great. I know this sounds finky as hell. I can't believe I'm saying it. Hopefully
That's nice. That's nice.
We have to go. Thanks very much to Jerry Lewis. Be back with a final note. Thanks to Al and your family. Thanks for coming on. Final note after this timeout. See you now.